Welcome to DBL. The Oscars are just days away, and the behind-the-scenes prep work is already underway. So the red carpet has officially been rolled out at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. As the scene is being set, the Academy Awards has some timing concerns. So the show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is, you may feel like, a lot earlier. It's actually 1 hour earlier than usual, but it's also going to be daylight savings, which might confuse many people. So Jimmy Kimmel is ready to host the show for his 4th time. There are only 3 other men who have hosted more than him: Johnny Carson, Billy Crystal, and Bob Hope. Now, in a recent interview with ABC's Laura Spencer, Jimmy said he sent his monologue to Billy to see what he thinks. But let's talk about what the show is all about, the awards. Who do you think will take home the top awards? Let's start with Best Picture. So the favorites: Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, and Barbie. What are we thinking, Jeff? Who do you think is going to take it?
Oppenheimer. And don't steal my answers for the pool we got going on.
Oh, little gift card action.
Yeah. Very, very agree. 100% agree with you. I wanted to make a joke about how we never agree, but then I thought, you know what? Just say you agree, so I agree.
Thanks.
I know, like a woodpecker.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to. Okay, so we're thinking Oppenheimer is now in that vein. Do you think for Best Actor? Because a lot of people are vowing for Cillian Murphy.
Well,
however,
a lot of people, meaning you, Sam.
I love
Why don't you
Cillian.
speak to
I
this?
do. I did think Cillian Murphy knocked it out of the park in everything he does, but especially in Oppenheimer. But I am, I do try to remain impartial, because for me, Cillian's always going to be Tommy Shelby. Yeah, and you're shaking your head.
Love him.
Yes, from Peaky Blinders. Love him.
Doesn't he look a little different, though, because he lost all that weight for Oppenheimer?
He looks a lot different.
Yeah. He looks a lot
Yes.
different, right?
Now,
The same thing happened to Matthew McConaughey when he lost all that for Dallas Buyers Club.
Yep.
Took him years to put that back on.
As it should.
Yeah. But he did a fantastic job.
What do you think, though, about like a Paul Giamatti? Who do you think is going to win Best Actor?
I have no idea.
Okay, no clue.
To be quite honest.
Okay.
I mean,
Did you vote in our poll?
I didn't vote in the poll.
That's a good thing.
But this is an interesting year, because Barbie definitely wins the popular vote, just across the board. And to have a blockbuster of that magnitude be a part of Best Picture in general, it's still a new thing. I mean, like I said before, when we started this show, Jeff would always ask the question, why aren't the ones that are winning in the box office ever eligible for Best Picture? And now we're seeing it. So I feel like whatever's happening in the change of climate in Hollywood, and when it comes to just having recognition for these really successful movies, I feel like all of this is happening in real time.
Step Brothers got robbed.
Okay,
Step Brothers.
That's a great film. Okay, lastly, who do you think is going to win for Best Actress? We have Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's going to be Emma Stone.
I do? Over
I
Lily Gladstone?
I think so. I did not see this film. I saw Killers of the Flower Moon, obviously. The only knock that I've heard from that is that she is one note. That note is excellent, but people say that it's one note. I think that Emma Stone is going to take it home for Best Actress.
I didn't think of it as one note. I saw it as like very subtle acting.
I thought she was excellent.
Very subtle. And you have to take into consideration the time.
Right, and she was sick most of the movie, too, which was hard. I do want to let you know, Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone are definitely tied for Best Actress. I think it's going to go to Lily, who was amazing. But they're friends, and they share something called they call each other the Infinity Stones, and they share a ring, and they want to include Sharon Stone.
They do?
Into their little stone circle.
Did you make that up, or they really do?
Jennifer
That's
told
amazing.
Me.
I like that little trifecta.
Isn't that darling?
Yes.
But
The Rock should get involved.
There were 5. I will say this before we move on. I do think for all these movies, and as popular as they are, I think The Holdovers is going to be the most rewatched movie of all of these times 5. Barbie, I don't know how many times you can rewatch that.
That's a good point.
But I think The Holdovers is a good Christmas movie. It's like you can't get home for Christmas, and then it's a kind of warm movie. I think it's going to be one of those
Paul
movies.
Giamatti is.
I think it's going to play for a lot of
How are you saying it?
Monty?
Giamatti.
Is it Monty or Monty?
I'm not sure. No. Giamatti.
Yeah,
Can I practice?
Yeah.
Okay, Paul Giamatti.
There you go.
I like that. With
There you go.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
All this time I
Like
thought
you're
it was
handing
Paul.
them a
Well, I didn't
20.
know.
Yeah.
Grease the wheel a little bit.
There you go.
All right. I thought it was Paul Giamatti.
I didn't know which one.
Sorry
He
about
sounded ridiculous.
that. Yesterday was President Biden's State of the Union, but before taking the big stage, he received some speech advice from famous on-screen presidents, including Morgan Freeman. He gave speeches in the White House in the sci-fi thriller Deep Impact. Gina Davis, who portrayed the president in Commander-in-Chief. Michael Douglas played the president in The American President. And lastly, Bill Pullman led the U.S. through an alien invasion in Independence Day. So here was their advice to President Biden based on their time, quote unquote, as president.
Hope is the strongest force we have in this country. It is the most useful and the most effective.
Love and compassion as a leader are strengths. They're not weaknesses and are key to your character. So let that shine through in your speech.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences, and we will be united in our common interests. And somehow these words became something to remember.
One thing it always bears remembering, there's no crying in politics.
Cute. All right, so what do we think about this? Do you think, let me ask you, Jeff, do you think by Biden's administration even putting this out makes him more relatable?
It's kind of forced. I always said I don't like when Hollywood gets involved in politics, but I understand that's their platform and they do what they do. It's just not my platform, right? Yeah, I'll leave it there.
You know
I don't like it.
I hear you, but ever since Bill Clinton played the sax on Arsenio Hall, remember that? I always thought that was a great moment when pop culture and politics blended in a beautiful way, at least for branding. This was him branding, and I thought, again, everybody loves Bill Pullman in the Independence Day. It gives you a sense of, yes, and to marry that with Joe Biden, it's a smart move.
Did you guys look at this and think that he should have just given Bill Pullman's speech from Independence Day? If he just given word for word, you'd be like, this is ridiculous. But by the end, when he got the today is our Independence Day, I'd be like, yeah, you got my vote. It's the best speech of all time.
I don't have an issue with this merger of pop culture and politics because I also grew up in a church where politicians would come in and speak to us from the pulpit. I do believe in order to be effective, you have to meet the people where they are. And not everyone is going to tune in to the State of the Union. Not everyone is going to watch any type of political, things on cable. But I appreciated seeing Kamala on Married to Medicine on Bravo, on a reality show talking about Black maternal health. I appreciate seeing, what Kamala was with Garcelle Beauvais, who is, very impactful when it comes to pop culture, particularly for Black women. So I think it is an effective use, but I can understand both sides.
Yeah. Also, let me qualify.
Let me give you one more story. Sorry, is that okay, Jeff? If you know what, say whenever okay.
I'm just kidding.
Chime in. Yeah. Peacock has released its first trailer for their Stormy Daniels documentary. It will show never-before-seen footage of her chaotic life battling Donald Trump. Watch.
When I met Trump, he had told me he never wanted to be president, but then Trump got the Republican nomination, and that's when got real. All I had to do was sign this piece of paper to keep it quiet.
And if you don't remember, in 2018, the Wall Street Journal reported that Stormy had an affair with Trump in 2006 and that she was paid $130,000 in quote-unquote hush money in 2016. Trump denied the affair ever happened. And then also, of course, the criminal charge of using that hush money from the campaign finances. Jeff, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to qualify what I was saying before. I don't think it's to say, like, I don't like celebrities getting involved in politics. It's you shouldn't vote based on what your favorite show is and if that person's an actor on that show, and because that person is voting for whoever, you're like, well, I'm going to do that too. You should vote for whatever your personal relationship to that person's policy is.
Good point.
Yeah, that's
what
all.
Do you think
I just
about
wanted to qualify
Stormy
that.
now?
This is, I think it's the best thing that ever happened to Stormy Daniels is the affair with Donald Trump.
She gets a lot of death threats.
But she gets a lot of money, too. I think it put her up. No one would know who Stormy Daniels was if this had not happened. I just want to say that.
It
was a little out of control, and I'm not sticking up for Trump here. She got the key to the city in West Hollywood. It got a little bananas for a little bit. Now she's coming back.
I'll say this, Jeff, and this I know we got to run. This is why I'm interested in seeing it. You remember that ESPN 30 for 30? It was called Catching Hell. It was about Bartman. Bartman, the guy that tried to catch the ball.
Steve
Bartman. It was the Chicago Cubs, and he messed up, and people said he cost them the World Series. Like, what his life was after that, having to move, change his name, all those kinds of things, that's what I'm really kind of interested in. That was just sports. That was just baseball. When the president, the leader of the free world, directs his battalion towards you, what does that do to your life moving forward is what I'm curious about.
Watch it, and then we can weigh in once again.